Scully, watch out! Scully! Whoa. Welcome, ghouls, to another episode of Reading Wednesdays. So today we're going to be reading my first book, Whispers of the Forgotten Magic, Book 1, Heirs of the Forgotten Magic. And if you ghouls want to follow along with me, you could purchase this book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. So we are going to continue reading on Chapter 1, The House at the Edge of Night Hollow. We are on page 6, paragraph 4. Get comfy, get your tea. Here we go, ghouls. A family of 5 lived in a whimsical Victorian house at the edge of Night Hollow's woods. The Victorian home, illuminated under moonlight, filters through the ancient pines like a secret beacon in the woods. The house's steeply pitched roof and turret rise like a witch's hat against the dusk sky. Its slate shingles etched with curling ivy, patterns that seem to shift when you blink. A squat stone chimney puffs soft smoke, scented with a night blooming jasmine, winding its way through the gnarled branches overhead. The facade is painted in a deep charcoal, the wood carved into sinuous tracery around every window and eave, as if the house had been sculpted from shadow and moonlight. Low moss-covered stone steps led to a narrow porch where wrought iron lanterns dangle and glow with honeyed flame. Each flame dances in 3 colored hues, whispering of old spellwork hidden in the walls. Inside the parlor glows with an amber warmth that spills through the tall leaded glass windows. Velvet drapes of midnight blue spill to the floor, embroidered with silver sigils that glow faintly whenever a breeze stirs. The wallpaper is a tapestry of twisting alchemical symbols and stylized ravens, shifting imperceptibly as you move around the room. A grand fireplace of black marble dominates one wall, its hearth alight with amber-like moths that drift upward like fireflies and then vanish, only reappearing elsewhere. Plush armchairs draped in burgundy brocade invite you to sit, and if you listen closely, you will hear the soft hum of enchantments woven into their cushions, promising dreams of hidden realms. Beyond the parlor, a winding corridor of polished oaken planks leads to Lumina's sanctum, a library aglow set within the turret's curve. Shelves bend overhead like the inside of a shell, crammed with leather-bound grimoires whose gilded titles pulse with protective words. A wrought iron spiral case clings to the far wall, ascending past stained glass portals that cast jewel stone patterns on the floor. In the center of the room, a circular table carved from yew hosts a ring of candles, each flame flickering, shimmering in the night, creating shadows along the room's walls. Here, every corner breathes with possibility. Potted mooncap ferns unfurl pale fronds that softly glow, and a crystal decanter on a silver tray holds water from a hidden spring, set to amplify one's latent powers when sipped beneath the full moon. In Lumina's house, the boundary between home and spellcraft is woven so seamlessly that every creaking floorboard and every candlelit shadow feels charged with quiet enchantment. Lumina, her husband Ashby, and 3 sons, each a year apart. Kaido, 15, was the oldest, quiet and serious. Kaido stood nearly a head taller than most boys his age, his lean frame built like a woodland centennial. Broad-shouldered and strong, he carried himself with quiet gravity. Each footstep measured as if not to disturb the dust motes dancing in the fading light. His skin was warm, a soft bronze touched by endless afternoons exploring moss-carpeted glades. His straight dark brown hair fell neatly with edges ever so slightly sun-kissed at the tips. When he brushed it behind his ear, you'd catch the sharp line of his jaw and the slender column of his neck. Strong yet unassuming. His hazel eyes were his most telling feature. At a glance, they seemed pure chestnut, but in dusk or candlelight, they deepened into a forest green, flecked with gold, as though carrying whole woodlands within their depths. In them you could read his careful watchfulness, and if you were patient, the gentle warmth that welled up whenever he let someone pass his protective reserve. He favored practical garments, charcoal or gray t-shirts, long sleeve shirts that he rolled just below the elbow, trivial sinewy forearms, dark trousers, and dark colored sneakers scuffed from use. Over his shirt, he often wore a woolen jacket stitched with simple silver embroidery, hinting at his family's crest, a reminder that a proud lineage lay beneath his humility. His voice was soft but firm. When he spoke, each word chosen like a stepping stone across a hidden stream. And though his manner was reserved, his quiet reserve, sometimes mistaken for aloofness, those who earned his trust found in him a steadfast ally, the kind of gentle giant whose presence was an unspoken promise of safety, whose rare, shy smile felt like finding sanctuary in an old forest glade. Lucian, 14, was the world's best welcomer. He moved through a crowd as effortlessly as a breeze through sunlit leaves, his laughter bright enough to draw even the weariest traveler into conversation. At 14, he was tall and carried himself with a buoyant confidence that made him seem even more imposing, shoulders relaxed, chin tipped up, constantly scanning for the next person to bring into his orbit. His wavy chestnut hair fell in tousled waves, catching stray rays of light so that each curl seemed tipped with spun gold. His eyes were perhaps his most magnetic feature. Warm brown pools shot through with flecks of amber that shimmered whenever he smiled, as though holding tiny suns within. Those eyes darted with playful curiosity, and when he fixed you with his gaze, you felt seen, welcome, as if you'd known him for years. Lucian favored clothing as lively as his personality, a soft forest green t-shirt trimmed with amber stitching that echoed the glitter in his eyes, and brown trousers that swished with each quick step. On his feet were sturdy sneakers, scuffed at the toes from his habit of pacing when he spoke. And pacing he did, arms animated, hands waving through the air to punctuate every joke or witty retort. His voice was warm and open, carrying his easy cadence that put others at ease. Even in the hush of a candlelit room, his laughter would ripple out in chimes on a summer evening. He spoke in gentle rhymes when the mood struck him, and he never missed an opportunity to greet newcomers by name, learn their stories, and send them on their way with a genuine wish of good luck to carry with them on their journeys. In Lucian's presence, no one felt like a stranger for long. Maximus, 13 years of pure, uncontained energy, like a spark dancing across a darkened sky. His head was crowned with a tumble of ebony curls that refused to lie still, each coil springing with the promise of mischief. Beneath those curls, his eyes were pools of deepest onyx, so dark they swallowed light, and yet when he grinned, as he did constantly, tiny pinpricks of silver would glitter at their corners, as though starlight itself had taken up residence in his gaze. He moved with a restless, joyful jitter, one moment launching into a sudden cartwheel, and next balancing precariously on tiptoes as if challenging gravity. His laughter cracked through the air like lightning, electrifying everyone within earshot. Maximus favored clothes that mirrored his untamed spirit. A velvet jacket in storm gray, sleeves too long so the cuffs flopped over his wrists, embroidered with miniature moon phases in pewter thread. Underneath, he wore a loose midnight blue silk t-shirt, worn with subtle swirling motifs that shifted whenever he spun, giving the illusion that the fabric was alive. His trousers were lined with hidden elastic, perfect for scaling furniture or ducking under low branches. He wore high-top sneakers that were scuffed to a smoky mat. In conversation, he would barrel forward with a rapid-fire stream of questions and observations, his voice pitching up and down as though every sentence were its little surprise. Yet for all his whirlwind antics, there was a generosity at his core, a kindness that shone through in the way he'd share his last bit of enchanted candy or whisk away someone's worries with an impromptu puppet show fashioned from shadows and candlelight. Maximus was quite simply a living spark plug, a jubilant, unpredictable burst of magic in human form. All three inherited their mother's fair skin and uncanny flair for style, but each wore it his way. Their mother, Lumina, moved through life like living moonlight, her long, raven black hair cascading over the witchy silhouettes she designed. Pale as the underside of a new moon, her skin held a subtle iridescence, flecks of silver that caught stray beams of light, and her high cheekbones were dusted with a whisper of smoky gold, giving her gaze a depth that felt both half seen and half remembered. Her eyes, a shifting storm of charcoal and slate, seemed to hold the promise of secrets spoken only in midnight councils. She dressed as though she stepped from the pages an alchemical grimoire. She favored wide-brimmed felt hats tipped at a rakish angle, each crowned with a single raven feather or a cluster of obsidian beads that caught stray light like secret ruins. Its brim stiffened with hidden wires to hold a perfect curve perched atop her head. The black felt embroidered along its edge with looping runes and dark pewter thread. Her coat was a study in shadow, a long, flowing wrap of midnight velvet, the hem cut into soft points like overlapping raven's rings. Her coats and cloaks combined, fluid drape with razor-sharp tailoring, sweeping floor-length jackets of matte black carpeting cinched at the waist, with braided leather cords over high-collared blouses of midnight silk whose bell sleeves trailed behind her like vapor. When she moved, the fabric billowed around her ankles, revealing the delicate curve of pointed-toe ankle boots, handmade in supple black leather, their heels carved with tiny alchemical sigils that glowed faintly under starlight. Her signature ankle boots laced in spirals up the slender shaft like protective wards, their heels sculpted into the curve of a crescent moon. When she walked, the shoes whispered on old stone floors as if hinting at spells half remembered. Lumina's dresses and tunic were made of gauzy chiffons and dense jacquards, each piece dyed in deep hues of obsidian, charcoal, and the richest plum. One ensemble she wore featured a high-waisted skirt, its panels sewn in alternating matte and satin fabrics, paired with a fitted bodice that had sleeves flaring out in dramatic godets, cascading to her wrists in soft, undwindling waves. Every seam was edged in subtle top stitch, threading glittering charcoal that, upon closer inspection, revealed tiny lunar phases aligned along the edges. She often tied a slender belt of woven black chain from which dangled small vials of night blooming and bay, and silver charms shaped like crescent moons and raven feathers. When she spun, the charms chimed together with a soft clink, a private melody that marked her passage like a herald of hidden magic. Underneath, she layered asymmetrical skirts, panels of charcoal velvet that flirted with the wind, and soft crepe trousers tapered to her pointed boots, giving her the lithe grace of a cat crossing a rooftop. Around her neck, a detachable collar of whispered lace framed her throat, the pattern etched with the moon's phases. She also wore a collar of interlocking silver glyphs, and her fingers were ringed with iron bands set with smoky quartz, talismanic accents to the dark palette she wove so effortlessly around her. Her jewelry reflected her witchy architectural vision. Rings of oxidized silver carved into spirals of smoke, earrings crafted from tiny polished obsidian silvers, and necklaces made from braided silk cords punctuated by moonstone beads that glowed with inner light. In all her details, from her hat and boots, her flowing layers. Lumina's wardrobe was less about clothing and more about living spellcraft. Each garment a woven incantation that moved and whispered with her. There was mystery and precision in every inch of her attire, a perfect fusion of the ethereal and the architect's hand, as if she had tailored her shadow into a garment. Lumina filled the boy's childhood with nightly stories woven from dreams she never quite explained, hints of a hidden realm she'd glimpsed. The townspeople called her odd, whispered about the crazy old witch she descended from, yet her boys adored her, even as they learned to keep her secrets. Their father, Ashby, was Night Hollow's beloved handyman, solid, dependable, and entirely ordinary in every way except his kindness. His dark brown hair and warm hazel eyes anchored the family in day-to-day reality. He knew little about Lumina's past, only that her parents were ordinary, and that despite her imagination, Lumina never spoke of the grandmother she was forbidden to visit. In this house of echoing floors and overgrown gardens, magic slept just beneath the surface, waiting for the three brothers to awaken it again. That's it for today, ghouls. Thank you for joining me on another Reading Wednesdays. Remember, you can purchase this book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. See you next time, ghouls. Bye!